I like coffee. A lot. And like me, there are so many others who can't spend a day without their dose of caffeine, and much of them tend to go for Starbucks. But if you ever look at your cup, you'll notice one small imperfection and a lot of hidden secrets in the iconic Starbucks logo. What is it really? A mermaid? Siren? The devil? Where did it come from, and how did we start paying our daily homage to it in the deception of drinking coffee? Like, share, subscribe, and stick around to find out. According to the FAQ on the Starbucks webpage. When we were originally looking for a logo for Starbucks in 1971, we wanted to capture the seafaring tradition of early coffee traders. Co-founder Howard Schultz elaborates a bit more on the story in the excerpt from his 1997 book, Pour Your Heart Into It: How Starbucks Built a Company One Cup at a Time. Another Starbucks co-founder, Terry Heckler, also pored over old marine books until he came up with a logo based on an old 16th century Norse woodcut, a two-tailed mermaid or siren encircled by the store's original name, Starbucks Coffee, Tea and Spice. That early siren, bare-breasted and Rubenesque, was supposed to be as seductive as the coffee itself. There's a problem with this. There's no such thing as a 16th century Norse woodcut. The Norse ceased to exist as such around 1300. Woodcuts didn't arrive in Europe until about the 1400s. Finding a 16th century Norse woodcut would be like finding a photograph of Leonardo da Vinci or a selfie of Abraham Lincoln. It just didn't happen. So what's the real story behind this weird mermaid thing? Let's just assume the founders of Starbucks meant nothing insidious by this anachronism. It's most likely they just forgot where they found the image. That is a bit odd, but whatever. So where did Starbucks logo really come from? What is the evolution of the Starbucks logo? Let's take a look at J.E. Surlott's Dictionary of Symbols, which was first published in English in 1962. Good news is, Starbucks seems to have agreed that their original logo wasn't exactly G-rated, especially as it went corporate. So here's the transition of Starbucks logo since the 1970s. Thankfully, Starbucks allowed a little modesty. The mermaid covers up a bit so she's no longer bare-chested and away from whatever she was doing with those fishtails. But that still leaves a big question.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
Who is this Starbucks mermaid? That image in the center of the Starbucks logo is not a mermaid at all. She's actually a mythological siren, a female creature that lured mariners to destruction by seduction and singing. In Greek mythology, the sirens were dangerous yet beautiful creatures who enticed nearby sailors to shipwreck on the rocky coast and die. A noted British author remarked, "Their song, though irresistibly sweet, was no less sad than sweet, and lapped both body and soul in a fatal lethargy, the forerunner of death and corruption." The term siren song refers to an appeal that is hard to resist, but that, if heeded, will lead to a bad result. Today, statues of sirens can be found at graveyards in Greece, Italy, and Asia, as they are believed to accompany the dead to the afterlife. But does this evil, seductive creature have anything to do with Starbucks coffee? Most people realize that the name Starbucks comes from Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Starbuck was the name of the first mate of Captain Ahab's ship, the Pequod. Incidentally, Pequod was the first name chosen by the founders of Starbucks, Jerry Baldwin, Zev Siegel, and Gordon Bowker. But they eventually decided the name was a little bit too obscure. The famous siren logo came to fruition after the founders discovered her image while scoring old marine books. In 1971, the original Starbucks opened in the port city of Seattle. Since coffee beans typically traveled overseas on large container ships, the founders decided to use a seductive siren logo that would lure coffee lovers to its store. And seductive she was. In an article published by Revealing Truth, it was claimed that the Starbucks logo also had sinister roots. By turning the original Starbucks logo upside down, you can see the image of Satan. In 2014, Starbucks got into trouble after its employees were drawing satanic pentagrams and the number 666 in the foam on coffee. Back to the siren. In 1484, the first printed book in Sweden illustrated the morality of a sailor and the seductive topless siren. It claimed that no man could resist her enticing power of persuasion. Specifically speaking, the Starbucks siren happens to be Melusine, a legendary figure from European folklore depicted as a mermaid, sometimes with two tails, as a serpent from the waist down, or as a dragon. Also known as Melisande, her tale is best known from the works of the 14th century French writer Jean d'Arras, who wrote his Roman de Melusine at the request of John, Duke de Berry, and presents her in a sympathetic light. According to the legend and d'Arras's work, Melusine was cursed by her mother to become half-serpent every Saturday until she married a man who would respect her privacy on Saturdays and not look upon her or accept her as she was. She marries the nobleman, Raymondine, promising to make him wealthy and famous on the condition that he leave her alone every Saturday. Raymondine keeps his promise and Melusine does the same, until he is persuaded by family to spy on her one Saturday in her bath. When he breaks his vow to her, she leaves him, returning only to visit her children or fulfill the obligations of the curse to warn of death or announce a change in fortunes. In 1987, the logo went from brown to green and the siren's fully exposed body now covered by her hair. Her arms aid in helping spread apart her two serpentine tails in a yoga baby pose position. A Christian group based in San Diego created a movement calling for a national boycott of the coffee-selling giant. Spokesperson Mark Dice stated, "The Starbucks logo had a naked woman on it with its legs spread like a The company might as well call themselves." Harvard symbolist Gary L. Blankstein said, "In ancient folklore, sirens were believed to be the bodies of deceased possessed by the devil to seek revenge on unfaithful sailors." All the negativity finally convinced Starbucks to tone things down. In 1992, the Starbucks logo cropped out the seductive siren spreading apart her tail, and her torso and lower areas was also removed from the frame. They were finally leaving a latte to the imagination. To celebrate its 40th anniversary, Starbucks did a minor logo redesign. The siren's explicit parts still remained covered and cropped out, and the words Starbucks Coffee were removed. This decision was based on the fact that Starbucks was now selling many things beyond just coffee and they wanted to expand their brand. Today, the seductive siren is now G-rated and is no longer luring customers to enjoy a hot and steamy cup of Java. Or is she? Something is sure creating those long lines wrapped around their buildings that no other coffee house can seem to duplicate. Some say it's the great coffee they serve, but many others still believe it's the irresistible power of their green logo. What do you think? Comment down in the section below and don't forget to like and subscribe.